The containment field flickered twice before dying completely, and that was when Coordinator Vixtal realized they had made a catastrophic mistake. 3 cycles ago, the Galactic Council had intercepted a human vessel drifting near the outer colonies. Standard protocol: retrieve, contain, question. Simple, right? Wrong. So incredibly, magnificently wrong. The human called himself Marcus Webb, and he sat in the observation chamber looking about as concerned as a sleeping rock. Which is to say, not at all. Subject is remarkably calm, noted Dr. Quinla, a Vesperian scientist whose 4 eyes blinked in different sequences when stressed. Currently, all 4 were blinking rapidly. This behavior contradicts all xenopsychology models. Vixtal's antenna twitched nervously. Perhaps he does not comprehend the severity of his situation. "Oh, I comprehend it just fine," Marcus called out, his voice carrying through the speaker system with alarming clarity. "You guys forgot to mute your mic, by the way." 3 scientists jumped simultaneously. Quinla's secondary heart started palpitating audibly. "Remarkable auditory capacity," muttered Junior Analyst Pleam, frantically taking notes with 6 of his appendages. Marcus leaned back in the chair, which was designed for beings considerably smaller than him. It groaned ominously. "So, here is the deal. I am guessing this is first contact protocol gone weird. You found my ship, thought I was some kind of specimen, and now you are realizing that kidnapping random space travelers might have been a poor choice." Vixtal's translator implant stuttered, trying to process the casual tone. "You are not afraid." The human actually laughed. Laughed. The sound echoed through the facility like a sonic weapon, causing 2 junior technicians to flee the room entirely. "Afraid? Buddy, I am from Earth. Do you know what we do for fun on Earth?" Marcus stood up, his height forcing him to duck under the ceiling panels. "We throw ourselves out of perfectly functional aircraft with fabric parachutes. We swim with creatures that have rows of teeth designed specifically for eating things that look like us. We climb frozen mountains where the air is so thin, you can die just from standing still. And that is recreation." Pleam dropped 3 of his data pads simultaneously. "Impossible," whispered Quinla. "No species would voluntarily engage in activities with significant mortality risk for enjoyment." "You have clearly never met a human with a dare and too much confidence," Marcus replied, examining his fingernails casually. "Last month, my buddy Jackson tried to wrestle an alligator because someone said he could not. Spoiler alert, he did. The alligator was very confused." The observation room fell silent except for the humming of equipment and Quinla's panicked breathing. Vixtal accessed the preliminary data slate, reading frantically. According to the atmospheric analysis of his vessel, this human comes from a planet with oxygen levels that would be toxic to 73% of known species. Gravity index of 9.8 meters per second squared. Surface temperature variations exceeding 100 degrees. Frequent seismic activity. Extreme weather patterns including wind speed sufficient to demolish standard structures. Multiple extinction-level events in planetary history. "Yeah, Earth is a bit spicy," Marcus agreed cheerfully. "But you adapt, you know. My great-great-grandmother survived 3 hurricanes, 2 earthquakes, and a wildfire. She said it built character." "Built character?" Quinla's voice pitched higher. "It should have built a coffin. She lived to 97, actually. Tough lady. Used to chase bears off her property with a broom." "Bears?" Pleam shrieked. "Large predatory mammals. About 2 to 3 meters tall when standing upright. Sharp claws, powerful jaws, generally grumpy disposition." Marcus shrugged like he was describing household pets. "They mostly want your food though. Not that territorial if you are smart about it." Vixtal felt a headache forming in 3 of their brain lobes. "Let me clarify. Your species evolved on a planet actively trying to kill you, surrounded by megafauna that views you as potential prey, in conditions that would hospitalize most galactic citizens, and you consider this normal? I mean, when you say it like that, it sounds dramatic, Marcus countered. But yeah, basically. Although to be fair, we are also the apex predators, so it balances out. The observation room's temperature seemed to drop several degrees. Apex predators, Vixtal repeated slowly. Sure. Humans are endurance hunters. We can track prey for days, weeks even. Most animals sprint fast but tire quickly. We just keep coming. Like the universe's most patient horror movie villain. Marcus smiled, showing teeth that suddenly seemed much sharper than Vixtal remembered. Plus, we have thrown weapons, tool usage, pack hunting strategies, and the ability to digest an absurd variety of organic matter. We are persistence predators with opposable thumbs and a grudge against anything that runs away. Quinla made a sound like air escaping from a punctured container. This explains the incident in Sector 7, Pleen whispered, referencing his data pad with trembling appendages. Human colonists encountered a Skarn raiding party. Instead of fleeing or negotiating, they apparently chased the Skarn across 2 systems. The Skarn formally requested Council protection. From 7 humans? Vixtal asked. 5 humans. 2 were younglings they called teenagers. According to reports, the younglings were the most aggressive. Marcus nodded approvingly. Teenagers are basically concentrated chaos with hormones and poor impulse control. I was 17 when I decided to kayak through rapids that had warning signs in 3 languages. Good times. You survived Class 5 rapids. Vixtal's antenna went rigid. Class 5? Try Class 6. Barely. Lost the kayak in my left shoe. But I survived, and that is what counts. The scientist wondered if perhaps humans define success differently than most sapient species. Let us move to a different line of questioning, Vixtal said, desperate to regain some control of this situation. What was your mission in Council space? Tourist route, actually. Wanted to see the nebula gardens everyone talks about. Very pretty pictures online. Marcus stretched, his joints making concerning popping sounds that made everyone flinch. Got a little turned around near the gravity wells. Navigation is not my strongest skill. Then your people showed up, shot out my engines with some kind of pulse weapon, and dragged me here. Which, again, probably not great for diplomatic relations. We did not know humans had spread beyond their home system, Vixtal protested. Intelligence suggested your species was pre-warp. Pre-warp? We have had faster-than-light travel for 60 years. Where the hell is your intelligence getting information from? The collective survey was conducted 80 years ago. Marcus stared. You based your entire understanding of humanity on 80-year-old data and did not think to check for updates. When said aloud, it did sound remarkably short-sighted. In our defense, Quinla interjected weakly, most species take millennia to develop space travel. 80 years is negligible on evolutionary timescales. Most species probably do not have world wars that accelerate technological development out of spite and competition, Marcus replied. Humans went from the first powered flight to landing on our moon in 66 years. From wooden ships to nuclear submarines in less than 2 centuries. We do not really do slow progress. Pleen was frantically calculating something on his data pad, his color shifting to a distressed purple. If we extrapolate human technological advancement at these rates, accounting for exponential growth patterns, within 200 years they could theoretically. Do not, Vixtal interrupted. I do not want to hear it. They could theoretically match or exceed most council species in total technological capacity. The observation room fell silent again. Marcus grinned. We are motivated learners. Especially when people tell us something is impossible. That is basically a challenge. So when the Council previously marked your system as observe but do not contact due to primitive development status, Vixtal began. You accidentally gave us time to develop independently without outside interference, which probably accelerated everything because we had to figure stuff out ourselves instead of getting handed technology we did not understand. Marcus looked genuinely amused. That is hilariously ironic. This is a diplomatic catastrophe, Quinla moaned. We effectively kidnapped a citizen of an uncontacted species that turns out to be far more advanced than anticipated, who comes from a world that would be classified as a Class 12 Deathworld, which makes them essentially walking biological weapons, and we imprisoned them in a facility that was never designed to contain something with their physical capabilities. Class 12 Deathworld. Marcus perked up. What is the scale? 1 to 12. 12 is the highest rating. Planets where survival requires such extreme adaptation that the native species develop capabilities that would be considered superhuman on standard worlds. Neat. What class is your home world? 3, Quinla admitted quietly. And most council species? Average is 4. Marcus whistled, a sound that made everyone's auditory organs ache. So what you are telling me is that I am basically Space Rambo to you guys? I do not know this Rambo reference, but based on context, probably yes. The human laughed again, that terrifying sound that seemed to bypass rational thought and trigger primal fear responses. This is the best vacation ever. Wait until I tell my sister. She is never going to believe this. Your sister? Vixtal asked cautiously. Marine biologist. Studies deep-sea creatures in environments with crushing pressure and no light. She works in a submarine at depths that would implode your average spacecraft. For science. Why? Pleen whispered. Why would anyone do that? Because it is there. Because we can. Because humans fundamentally reject the idea that anything is off-limits if we are curious enough. Marcus counted off on his fingers. Take your pick. Vixtal pulled up more data, increasingly horrified by each new entry. Your planet has a documented phenomenon called the Australian outback where temperatures exceed habitable ranges. Wildlife includes creatures with venom that causes paralysis and death within minutes, and human settlements exist there permanently. Australia? Oh man, Australia is great. Beautiful beaches, friendly people, absolutely terrifying ecosystem. Everything there is poisonous, venomous, or trying to eat you. Sometimes all three. Marcus seemed nostalgic. Went backpacking there once. Got chased by a cassowary, nearly stepped on 3 different deadly snakes, and saw a spider the size of my hand. 10 out of 10 experience. You assign numerical ratings to near-death experiences? Quinla looked faint. How else do you know which ones are worth repeating? The question hung in the air like a particularly ominous storm cloud. Vixtal made a decision. We need to contact the council immediately. This situation is far beyond our clearance level. Cool, cool. Can I get some food while you do that? I am starving. Been about 8 hours since I ate. Marcus patted his stomach. What do you guys have? Synthesized nutrition paste. Standard blend, suitable for most carbon-based lifeforms. Pass. You got anything like meat? Vegetables? Carbohydrates? Raw biological matter consumption is considered barbaric and potentially hazardous. Marcus stared. You are telling me you do not eat actual food? We evolved beyond such primitive requirements. That is the saddest thing I have ever heard. Marcus looked genuinely disturbed. You have never had pizza? Tacos? Ice cream? I do not know what those things are. This, Marcus declared solemnly, is a tragedy beyond measure. The real crime here is not my kidnapping. It is that you people have denied yourselves the joy of a properly seasoned steak. And somehow, impossibly, Vixtal found themselves wondering if maybe the human had a point. This was going to be a very long day. High Commander Treshvok received the emergency transmission while attending a council session about trade route optimization, which made the interruption particularly unwelcome. Then he read the report, and suddenly trade routes seemed magnificently unimportant. They captured a what? He demanded, his scales rippling with agitation. A human, Commander, Vixtal's voice crackled through the communication array. From Earth. The Class-12 Deathworld in Sector 447 that we marked for observation only. The planet with the extinction-level asteroid impact that somehow made the species stronger. That is the one, yes. Treshvac felt a headache forming behind his eye membranes. And this human is currently contained? There was a pause that lasted approximately 3 seconds too long for comfort. Contained is a strong word, Commander. Coordinator Vixtal, is the human secured or not? Well, technically no. He opened the containment field himself about 20 minutes ago. Said he needed to stretch his legs. We are currently following him around the facility while he provides commentary on our security protocols. Another pause. He has opinions. Many opinions. In the background, Treshvac could hear a distinctly alien voice saying something about fire suppression systems being inadequate for Class D emergencies, whatever those were. You are telling me, the High Commander said slowly, that a human from a death world has escaped containment and is now touring your research facility voluntarily while critiquing your safety measures. When you phrase it that way, it sounds bad. Because it is bad. In fairness, Commander, he promised not to leave the building. He seems quite cooperative, actually. Mostly curious. He has been asking questions about our propulsion systems, defensive capabilities, and something called coffee, which apparently is a beverage we should have invented by now. Vixtal's voice dropped to a whisper. Sir, he just picked up a loading container that requires 3 crew members and a mechanical lift. With one hand. While drinking water with the other hand. Treshvac closed all 4 of his eyes and counted backwards from 50 in the old language. It did not help. I am dispatching a diplomatic team immediately. Do not, under any circumstances, antagonize the human. Treat him as you would a visiting dignitary from a hostile military power, because based on your description, that is essentially what he is. Understood, Commander. Should we prepare anything specific? Apology documents. Many apology documents. The communication ended, and Treshvac immediately pulled up the classified files on Earth. What he read made his third stomach clench uncomfortably. Humans had survived an ice age by wearing the skins of creatures they hunted. They had domesticated wolves, apex predators in their own right, and turned them into companions. They had built civilizations in deserts, jungles, Arctic wastelands, and mountain ranges that would crush most species under atmospheric pressure alone. They had invented agriculture in at least 7 different locations independently, created written language, split the atom, and walked on their own moon using computing technology less powerful than a standard council data pad. And they had done all of this while fighting each other constantly, with weapons that escalated from sharpened rocks to nuclear arsenals in roughly 12,000 years. We are so supremely doomed, Treshvac muttered. Back at the research facility, Marcus Webb was having the time of his life. So this is your main power core, he asked, peering at the quantum stabilizer with genuine interest. Neat design. Inefficient energy transfer ratio though. You are losing about 30% through heat dispersion alone. Quinla, who had spent 40 years studying quantum mechanics, felt something inside him break slightly. You can calculate thermal efficiency loss by visual inspection. I am an engineer. We develop a sense for these things. Plus, you can literally see the heat shimmer around those conduits. Might want to add better insulation. Marcus tapped a panel thoughtfully. This housing unit is made from titanium alloy, right? Or something similar. Correct. How did you determine that? Resonance frequency when I tapped it. Titanium has a distinctive sound. Marcus moved to the next system. Your environmental controls are impressive though. Maintaining 7 different atmospheric compositions simultaneously must require serious processing power. It does, Pleam confirmed, scurrying alongside the human while taking notes compulsively. The computational requirements are substantial. Have you considered using distributed processing networks instead of a centralized system? Would reduce single-point failure risks and improve efficiency by maybe 15 to 20%. Distributed networks create security vulnerabilities. Not if you implement proper encryption and segmented access protocols. We figured that out back in the early 21st century after some unfortunate incidents involving financial systems and motivated teenagers with too much time. Marcus grinned. Humans are excellent at breaking things, which makes us equally excellent at figuring out how to protect things. Vixtal's antenna twitched nervously. You learn security through criminal activity? We learn security because we are creative, curious, and occasionally malicious when bored. Necessity is the mother of invention, and humans are very good at creating necessity, usually by accident. Marcus paused at a viewing port showing the exterior of the station. Wow, that is a beautiful view. Is that a binary star system? Trinary, actually. The third star is obscured by the nebula cloud. Incredible. We have been dreaming about visiting places like this for centuries. Science fiction writers imagined it, scientists calculated it was possible, and stubborn engineers figured out how to actually do it. Marcus pressed his hand against the transparent aluminum, leaving a print. Sorry, I will clean that. No need. The surfaces are self-cleaning. Quinla hesitated. May I ask a question? Sure, go ahead. Why are you not angry? We kidnapped you, imprisoned you, and treated you as a specimen. Most species would demand reparations or threaten military action. Marcus considered this, his expression thoughtful. Couple of reasons. First, you genuinely did not know humans had advanced this far. Your intelligence was outdated, not malicious. Second, this has been educational for both of us. Third, I am getting a great story out of this. And fourth, you guys seem nice enough, just really paranoid about security and completely unprepared for humans. You are remarkably forgiving. I am practical. Getting angry accomplishes nothing except raising my blood pressure and making everyone uncomfortable. Besides, you have not actually hurt me. Inconvenienced me, yes. Mildly annoyed me with the whole imprisonment thing, absolutely. But hurt? No. Marcus shrugged. Now, if you had actually harmed me or threatened my family, we would be having a very different conversation. The temperature in the corridor seemed to drop again. What kind of conversation? Vixtal asked cautiously. The kind that ends with me being significantly less polite and you needing to file insurance claims. Marcus smiled pleasantly. But we are nowhere near that scenario, so no worries. You have been generally hospitable, all things considered. Generally hospitable? We imprisoned you. In a clean room with adequate oxygen and no torture. I have read historical accounts of human prisons. This is practically a resort. Marcus stopped at another junction. Although seriously, you need to work on your containment protocols. That force field had a cyclic resonance pattern that created predictable weak points every 7.3 seconds. I just waited for the gap and walked through. Impossible. That field is rated for containing specimens with physical strength exceeding Class 8 parameters. I am Class 12, remember. Different league entirely. Marcus flexed his hand casually. Bone density approximately 3 times standard baseline, muscle fiber efficiency optimized for high-stress environments, neurological processing adapted for rapid threat assessment and response. Humans are built for survival on a planet that actively tried to kill us for millions of years. You do not get that kind of durability from living on a nice, safe, Class 3 garden world. Pleam's color shifted to a thoughtful green. This explains the incident reports we have been receiving from human colonies. You are not aggressive by nature. You are simply operating with physical and psychological parameters so far outside galactic norms that your normal behavior appears threatening. Exactly. See, you get it. Marcus pointed at Pleam approvingly. Humans are not trying to be scary. We are just being ourselves. It is not our fault that ourselves includes casually doing things that would hospitalize most other species. Like consuming ethanol for recreational purposes? Quinla asked, reading from a data file. You mean alcohol? Yeah, we drink poison for fun. In controlled amounts though. Mostly. Marcus paused. Okay, sometimes. It depends on the social context. Why? Makes social gatherings more entertaining. Reduces anxiety. Tastes good if prepared correctly. Marcus counted off on his fingers again. Also, historically, beer was safer to drink than water in many places because the brewing process killed bacteria. So we learned to enjoy it. Your survival mechanisms include developing a tolerance for toxic substances. And the ability to consume foods that would be lethal to most species. Humans can eat plants that contain mild poisons because we evolved the enzymes to break them down. Capsaicin, the chemical that makes peppers spicy. That is literally a defense mechanism plants developed to prevent mammals from eating them. Humans decided we liked the burning sensation and cultivated them specifically for that purpose. The three scientists stared at Marcus in synchronized horror. You are telling me, Vixtal said carefully, that when plants evolved chemical weapons to defend themselves, humans domesticated those plants and eat them recreationally. And competitively. We have eating contests to see who can consume the most spicy food. Winners get prizes and bragging rights. Marcus looked wistful. I miss hot wings. You guys definitely do not have those here. Your species is insane, Quinla whispered. Our species is adaptable, Marcus corrected. There is a difference. We took a planet that tried to kill us and said, no thanks, we are going to thrive here instead. We looked at the food chain and decided we belonged at the top. We saw natural disasters and built structures to withstand them. We encountered diseases that killed millions and invented medicine to fight back. Humans do not accept limitations very well. That much is becoming abundantly clear, Vixtal muttered. An alert chimed through the facility's communication system. High Commander Treshvok's diplomatic team has arrived at Docking Bay 3. Oh good, Marcus said cheerfully. Maybe they will have better food options. No offense to your nutrition paste, but it tastes like sadness and regret. How do you know what those taste like? You have never had military rations, I see. Lucky you. The diplomatic team consisted of 6 high-ranking officials, 12 security personnel with weapons that hummed menacingly, and 1 xenopsychologist who took one look at Marcus and immediately requested a sedative for herself. High Commander Treshvok approached cautiously, his ceremonial armor clicking softly with each step. I am High Commander Treshvok of the Galactic Council. On behalf of all member species, I apologize profusely for this unfortunate incident. We were not aware that humanity had achieved space travel, and our protocols failed catastrophically. Marcus extended his hand. Marcus Webb, tourist and accidental prisoner. Apology accepted. Treshvok stared at the offered appendage uncertainly. It is a handshake, Marcus explained. Human greeting ritual. You grasp my hand, I grasp yours, we shake briefly. Symbolizes trust and peaceful intentions. The High Commander reached out hesitantly, and Marcus grasped his claw-like hand firmly but carefully. The shake lasted 3 seconds. You did not attempt to crush my hand, Treshvok observed with surprise. Why would I? You are being diplomatic. I am not a barbarian. Marcus released his grip. Now, about getting me back to my ship and maybe discussing formal relations between humanity and the Council. We should probably do that before someone else kidnaps a random human and causes an interstellar incident. Agreed. However, I must ask. How did you remain so calm throughout this ordeal? Marcus considered the question seriously. Because panicking accomplishes nothing. Humans learned a long time ago that survival depends on keeping your head during emergencies. We have a saying, keep calm and carry on. Originated during a war when my ancestors were being bombed regularly. They just kept going to work, having tea, and refusing to let fear control them. Your species continued normal activities while under active bombardment. Spite is a powerful motivator, Marcus said simply. Also, we are really good at pretending things are fine when they absolutely are not. It is either laugh or cry, and laughing takes less energy. Treshvac felt a mixture of respect and terror. I believe humanity will fit into the Galactic Council very well. Possibly too well. We are going to shake things up, are we not? Marcus grinned. That, the High Commander said wearily, is what concerns me. 3 hours later, Marcus Webb was back in his repaired ship, provided with detailed star charts, formal apology documents, and a communication device for contacting the Council. He was also given a stipend that would cover approximately 50 years of luxury living as compensation for the inconvenience. Before you depart, Treshvac said, I must know. What will you tell your government about this encounter? Marcus thought about it. The truth. That I met aliens who were cautious but ultimately reasonable. That they apologized for their mistakes and offered generous compensation. That humanity should pursue diplomatic relations because the galaxy is big, fascinating, and full of people worth knowing. Even though we imprisoned you. Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is how you handle them afterward. You handled it pretty well, all things considered. Marcus started his pre-flight checks. Besides, this is going to make one hell of a story at parties. As the human ship departed, Vixtal stood beside the High Commander, watching the vessel disappear into faster-than-light travel. We are not ready for humans, are we? Vixtal asked quietly. No, Treshvac admitted. But ready or not, they are coming. And something tells me the galaxy will never be quite the same. Is that good or bad? The High Commander watched the space where the human ship had been, considering everything they had learned. Yes, he said finally. Probably both. And somewhere in the depths of space, Marcus Webb laughed to himself, thinking about how he was going to explain this to his sister, already composing the message in his head. Dear Emma, you will never believe what happened on my vacation. So there I was, minding my own business in space. The galaxy, for better or worse, had just met humanity. And humanity, as always, had decided to make things interesting.